Karen called 911 after I caught her stealing my crops, then tried blaming me for her crime. How would you feel if you caught someone red-handed stealing your hard-earned produce, only for them to turn around and call the police on you, claiming you were the criminal? The morning dew still clung to the plump, ripening blueberries on the bushes that stretched across my family's farm, berry bliss orchards. For 3 generations, we poured our lives into this land, cultivating the sweetest berries and the most succulent organic vegetables for our community. It was more than just a business. It was a legacy, a connection to the soil, and a symbol of honest, hard work. My property lines were clearly marked by well-maintained fences and prominent, private property, no trespassing organic farm signs. I, Maya Sharma, a third-generation farmer and a staunch advocate for sustainable agriculture, found immense satisfaction in providing fresh, healthy food. Then came Karen, not with an order for berries, but with a brazen act of theft. I was out for my usual early morning inspection, checking the irrigation system, when I saw it. A figure, dressed in designer activewear and a wide-brimmed hat, was actively filling several large canvas bags with my prize-winning blueberries, ripping them from the bushes with reckless abandon. As she straightened up, I recognized her instantly. Brenda Albright, the notoriously self-entitled president of the Maplewood Estates HOA, a new, upscale development that had recently expanded right up to my eastern fence line. "Brenda," I shouted, my voice cutting through the morning stillness, a cold shock of disbelief turning into boiling anger. "What do you think you're doing? Those are my berries. You're stealing my crops." Brenda froze, then slowly turned, a look of pure disdain on her face. Her canvas bags, overflowing with blueberries, confirmed her guilt. "Miss Sharma," she shrieked, her voice shrill and indignant, as if I was the one in the wrong. These berries were overhanging onto the community green space. They're practically public property. And frankly, your farm is a blight on the aesthetic of Maplewood Estates. The rustic appearance lowers our property values. I was merely harvesting what was rightfully ours for the HOA's Community Wellness Initiative. You are in direct violation of our covenants regarding aesthetic nuisance and uncontrolled growth. I'm taking these berries, and if you object, I'll have you cited. The main conflict, audacious and utterly infuriating, was laid bare. Brenda, caught red-handed stealing my crops, was now fabricating a ridiculous claim of public property and using her HOA authority to justify her theft, all while demanding I conform to her absurd aesthetic standards. Her demands were not only ludicrous, but rooted in a profound disdain for legitimate agriculture and a pathological sense of entitlement, treating my hard work as a personal affront to her luxury lifestyle. Her attitude was one of blatant contempt, believing her personal preferences granted her the right to intrude, steal, and impose rules on sovereign land. I stared at her, then at the overflowing bags of berries. "Brenda," I said, my voice dangerously low and steady, "you are on my land. You are stealing my property. These berries are part of a commercial organic farm, clearly marked. You have no right to them, and your HOA has no jurisdiction here. Put them down now, or I'm calling the sheriff." I even pointed to the specific property markers that showed the berries were well within my fence line. Brenda, however, merely scoffed, clutching the bags tighter. "You're threatening me. I am the president of Maplewood Estates HOA. I practically own this part of the valley. And these berries, they're unsupervised fruit. If you dare call the authorities, Miss Sharma, I will tell them you assaulted me, and I'll have your entire farm condemned for health violations and fire hazards. Do you understand the power you're messing with?" Her tone was chillingly arrogant, her eyes holding a glint of perverse pleasure, as if she relished the thought of destroying my livelihood. I reached for my phone. Before I could even dial, Brenda, with a triumphant smirk, whipped out her own phone. 911. "Yes, I'd like to report an assault. I'm being attacked by a crazed farmer who's threatening me on what is clearly our HOA's property. She's armed with a garden hoe. And she's got dangerous animals," she shrieked into the phone, clearly fabricating the entire scenario. The sheer audacity of her lying, calling 911 on me after she was caught stealing, was beyond comprehension. The police, of course, responded immediately. Then, her audacity escalated into a direct, shocking act of sabotage that endangered more than just my crops. As the police cruiser pulled up, its siren wailing faintly, Brenda, with a look of pure malice, deliberately emptied one of her stolen bags of blueberries directly into my main irrigation pump, jamming the vital machinery. Then, with a sneer, she kicked open a release valve, causing a surge of untreated water to flood my sensitive organic herb beds, which required specific pH levels. It was a calculated, malicious act designed to damage critical infrastructure, ruin my most delicate crops, and cripple my ability to irrigate my entire farm. Right after Brenda's act of destruction and blatant false report, a crucial twist unfolded from an unexpected source. My youngest apprentice, Daniel, a quiet but incredibly observant college student who managed the farm's new IoT, Internet of Things, sensor network, ran up, his tablet in hand. He'd been monitoring the water flow and had placed a tiny, camouflage sensor camera near the irrigation pump to detect any anomalies. "Maya," he gasped, his face grim as he showed me the live feed and the recorded event log. "I got it all." She emptied the bag right into the pump. "And look at the water pressure drop and the pH levels in the herb beds." His camera footage, shockingly clear, showed Brenda's explicit acts, her triumphant smirk as the water gushed, and her distinct, loud declaration, "Good luck watering your ugly weeds now, peasant." His sensor data also recorded a sudden, inexplicable surge in water flow before she called 911, clearly indicating she had tampered with something earlier to create a false impression of a problem. The larger consequence of Brenda's actions became terrifyingly clear. My organic herb beds weren't just for commercial sale. They were cultivated specifically for a joint university-hospital research project on natural pain management, developing herbal remedies for veterans with chronic pain, reducing reliance on opioids. Her deliberate destruction of the irrigation system and contamination of those specific herbs wasn't just a petty act of sabotage. It directly jeopardized a critical public health initiative, threatening to set back years of vital medical research and potentially depriving veterans of crucial alternative therapies. Her petty theft and vendetta had escalated into a direct assault on the welfare of heroes, elevating her personal malice to a matter of profound humanitarian and military significance. Armed with Daniel's irrefutable video footage and sensor data, the furious lead doctor from the university research team, and my own burning desire for justice, I was done being patient. When the two deputies finally reached us, looking bewildered, Brenda was already in full performance mode, pointing at me and feigning distress. "Officers, thank goodness. This woman assaulted me and is operating a dangerous, unregulated farm." "Actually, Ms. Albright," I retorted, my voice cutting through her bluster, amplified by the news cameras that had just pulled up, having been tipped off by the university. "Your report is about to become an arrest for grand theft, felony vandalism, and filing a false police report." I then projected Daniel's security camera footage onto a large, portable screen for the deputies and the news crew. The raw, unedited video of Brenda's malicious acts played for all to see. Her deliberate theft, her violent kick of the pump, her poisoning of my organic herbs, and her self-righteous, blatant lie to 911. The deputies looked aghast, and the assembled news crew gasped. Brenda's face went from smug confidence to utter, white-faced terror. "That's manipulated. That child is lying. This is a malicious attack on my character and the HOA's integrity," she shrieked, desperately trying to manipulate the situation, her voice shrill and breaking. She started pointing fingers, trying to blame Daniel, me, anyone but herself. Just as her tirade reached its peak, the silence was shattered by the distinct wail of additional sirens. More sheriff's vehicles, but also a sleek black SUV marked State Attorney General's Office, Environmental and Consumer Fraud Division, pulled up. Out of the lead vehicle stepped a grim-faced prosecutor, followed by the head of the local organic certification board and the furious director of the Veterans Pain Management Program. The program director spoke first, his voice cold and cutting. "Ms. Albright, your actions have directly jeopardized a critical medical research project providing alternative pain relief to our veterans. My organization will be pursuing the maximum charges against you for this criminal sabotage." The Organic Certification Board head stepped forward. "And Ms. Albright, your deliberate contamination of an organic farm is a federal offense, and we are now launching a full investigation into your entire HOA's organic claims, given widespread reports of your fraudulent greenwashing tactics and the suspicious community gardens funded by your HOA. Finally, the State Attorney General's prosecutor stepped forward. And Ms. Albright, we've also been investigating reports of widespread financial irregularities within the Maplewood Estates HOA, specifically regarding the fraudulent collection of wellness and environmental fees and the diversion of HOA funds to shell corporations ostensibly for community enhancement projects. Your documented acts of theft, vandalism, filing a false police report, and attempts to shut down a legitimate business align perfectly with these ongoing investigations. Furthermore, we have evidence of significant sums of HOA funds being diverted to offshore accounts linked to your shell corporations, ostensibly for development projects that never materialized, and a history of targeting valuable agricultural land for forced acquisition. A nervous murmur rippled through the gathered Maplewood Estates residents, who had followed the commotion, as one stammered to the prosecutor. She told us the wellness fees were for our new community spa. We had no idea the money was going to her husband's shell companies. It was a chilling revelation. Brenda wasn't just a busybody. She was a criminal mastermind, systematically defrauding her own residents, attempting to seize valuable organic farm resources, and exploiting charity efforts for her personal gain, with the nuisance complaints merely a cover for her grand scheme. A past incident, whispered among her former business associates, revealed that Brenda had been previously disbarred from a health and wellness corporation for systematic fraudulent billing. The consequences for Brenda Albright were immediate and utterly devastating. She was arrested by the sheriff and the state attorney general's agents on multiple charges, including felony theft, criminal vandalism, environmental contamination, filing a false police report, and later, as the full extent of the fraud was uncovered, for massive embezzlement, wire fraud, and racketeering. The Maplewood Estates HOA was placed under immediate state and federal oversight, its assets frozen, and a full forensic audit exposed tens of millions in stolen funds, a systematic scheme orchestrated by Brenda and her network. Her carefully cultivated image as the benevolent community leader shattered into irreparable pieces. The HOA residents she had once intimidated and defrauded now turned on her, furious at being manipulated and exploited, their HOA funds stolen, and their properties facing environmental liabilities due to her actions. Her social circles, built on an illusion of wealth and influence, abandoned her completely, unwilling to be associated with such public disgrace. Her vast real estate holdings, her fortune, her status, her perceived power all confiscated as part of the ongoing investigation and subsequent lawsuits. She lost everything: her freedom, her fortune, and her reputation. The ultimate irony was that her audacious attempt to steal my crops and blame me for her crime led to the complete unraveling of her vast, illegal enterprise. As for Berry Bliss Orchards, it thrived. The damaged pump was quickly replaced, the contaminated beds restored, and the farm received a surge of new donations, volunteers, and national attention. The satisfaction was immense, watching her literal and figurative empire crumble before her eyes, a quiet triumph of justice and legitimate enterprise over arrogant greed and rampant criminality. What's your take on this? When someone so brazenly abuses power, engages in theft, vandalism, and attempts to frame an innocent person, while simultaneously defrauding an entire community and sabotaging vital medical research, does their complete and utter downfall truly serve justice? Or is there a point where the consequences become too extreme?